cisgender, gender nonconforming, transgender, gender fluid. What's with all these terms? Why are people so confused? Are people confused because of these terms? What's the rationale with all these categories going on with gender? Let's discuss this right now going forward. Okay guys, Ryan here. Like always, please, if you guys can do what this little graphic down here says and do all those lovely, beautiful things associated with those words, that would be great, especially on YouTube. That would really help me. Okay, so controversial topic here. This has been obviously a hot topic with a lot of people for a long time. The topic of gender identity, different genders, man, woman, in the middle, something outside. Okay, so we're gonna tackle this, but I have to obviously express it in extremely clear terms here. What I'm going to be doing here is just analyzing the definitions and critiquing the definitions to see if they're necessary or not, and then asking some appropriate questions within those definitions. I am not going to go down the sexual terms like demisexual, sapisexual. That's a whole other topic for another show, another day. We're not going to do that. We're just going to tackle the gender-related categories and critiquing them. And again, crystal clear, guys. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor. I have no medical degree. I am absolutely by no means qualified to assess or to determine what goes on in someone's head here, in their brain, or in their heart, mentally, if they identify with any of these categories, or if they're a male becoming a woman, woman becoming a male. I am not qualified to make that assumption or that assessment, and I'm not judging people on if they identify or if they are a transgender or whatever. This is not that type of debate. This is analyzing the definitions and asking questions within those definitions to even see if we even need these categories to begin with. Okay, so no judgment on anyone who identifies, no judgment. I have no qualifications to determine what goes on in people's heads up here. We're just asking questions and looking at the criteria. Very important. And I might even have to reiterate that going forward, but we'll see, okay? Okay, so let's just start with a couple basic definitions first. What is gender and what is sex? Let's look at this right now. Gender, male or female, based on societal differences. Usually behaviors, traits, characteristics, or roles determine gender. Sex, birth or biological differences, such as chromosomes, genitalia, biology, and anatomy. Okay guys, so just my opinion. I grew up not knowing the real difference, or if there was a difference between sex and gender. I always thought they were basically the exact same thing, really, maybe. You know, there's two different words, so maybe there's a subtle difference, but I never knew, okay? I always assumed sex and gender were the same thing. I'm a male. My sex is male, my gender is male. I don't know if this gender definition was rechanged recently or whatever. I have no idea, but that's what I got. And my opinion is I don't even understand why there's a difference between gender and sex. But let's take this back just a little bit. Let's preface this just a little bit. Let's put things in a little bit of perspective here. I think we can all agree 7.8 billion people, 7.9 billion people on this planet, roughly, give or take, right? You know, maybe 4 billion females, 3.8 billion males, give or take, roughly. You know what I'm getting at here. We are all Homo sapiens sapiens, okay, at the top of this pyramid. We got about 8 billion of us, roughly. So we're all Homo sapiens sapiens. Now, under this category, we have male and female. And then you have, you know, whether you're male or female, you can be gay, lesbian, transgender, under those, you know, two basic categories, right? Now, my opinion is there's no difference between sex and gender. I was always under the impression that, okay, we're male or female and that's it. Apparently that's not the case right now, and that's what we're going to dive into. But let's just keep that structure in mind just a little bit for the sake of going forward. Okay, human beings, male, female. That's how it works. Same with many other species on this planet. You have bears, you have horses, you have cows. They're all male, female. Just keep that in mind going forward, okay? So now let's take a look at gender expression and gender identity before we get into these other genders. So let's help us get there, okay? Let's take a look at this right now. Gender identity. A person whose biological sex does not match their internal sense of their gender. An example of this would be a transgender. Okay, this makes sense to me a little bit. Okay, I understand that. And again, this could be an internal process that happens for why men become women, women become men. They don't identify as who they're with internally. There's something going on with them internally that makes them feel, that they should be, of the opposite sex. I understand that. Okay, fair enough. Let's look at expression. Gender expression, the various ways a person communicates or expresses gender identity based on societal norms and perceptions. An example of this could be drag queens. Okay, so I'm not sure we need a category for this. I mean, it's just an expression, really. Does everybody need a category for how they express themselves? To me, it's just like a feeling on the inside. If someone feels this way or wants to talk a certain way or dress a certain way, why do we need a category for that? That doesn't make sense to me. Okay, if people, like I said, if people feel a certain way and they express it, why do we need to define that into certain categories and subcategories? I don't understand the gender expression category. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't really think we need it. But let's go forward. Let's keep discussing these categories. Now that we've identified, sex and gender to a degree anyway, and identified identity and expression, which is getting a little confusing as it is, let's take a look at about 7 different categories or subcategories of gender, and let's just critique them. Let's see if they're needed. Let's see the definitions. Let's take a look. Agender, a person who identifies as having no gender, androgynous, doesn't identify as a man or a woman. Okay, so like an example of this, I would assume, now again, no judgment, I'm not going to say the person, but like the image, we can say the image of like a Boy George or the singer from Dead or Alive, can display, neutral traits of male or female. I get it. But also, again, this is just a form of expression. I don't see why we need to categorize the way people feel and how they express themselves. To me, it's just an expression or a feeling on this one, okay? But let's continue. Cisgender, a person who believes that their biological or birth sex corresponds with their gender identity. Well, that's kind of how human beings are naturally anyway, right? I mean, we look down, yeah, okay, I'm a male. That's a penis. It's not a clitoris or a vagina. I was born that way. I must be a man, right? To me, this is kind of like the first seed of planted doubt in people's minds. Oh, maybe, what you're born with isn't who you are sexually, or not sexually, but as a sex, right? This is like the first planted seed of doubt in people's minds that leads to this confusion, really, because this is just how we are naturally. We're born a male, we're born a female. Just my opinion. This could be the first seed of doubt planted. Let's continue to see if there's other categories that lead to confusion. Gender fluid, a person who doesn't identify as male or female. Gender expressive depending on the day. An example could be female clothes one day, male clothes another day. Okay, so this to me is the first sign of confusion. Okay, we're planting seeds in people's minds. People that don't identify as male or female now. Well, if you don't identify as male or female, what else can you identify as? We only have 2 genders. We have male and female. We can't identify ourselves as a closet or a guitar or as a picture over there or an amp over there. We have 2 genders. They are male and female. This to me is now the results of some of these categories confusing people. Okay, you've planted the seed of doubt in someone's head that you might not be who you think you are, although it could be a feeling internally in here. Again, I'm not qualified to make that determination. Okay, no judgment whatsoever. But this to me is really kind of like a confusing category. I don't understand how you can't identify as either, considering we are male or female. There's only 2. This to me is a very confusing category. I'm already confused because see, it's doing its job right there. Okay. Anyway, let's continue to move on and let's see if we get more confused the way we go here. Let's see if these categories do what they're supposed to do. Let's take another look. Gender queer, a person who identifies as male or female or in between or beyond. They question gender stereotypes and doesn't identify any sexual preference. Okay, this to me is very similar to being bisexual. If you have no sexual preference, bisexuals, they're attracted to men or women, right? What's the difference? I don't really understand the difference between not having a sexual preference and being bisexual. Again, why is there two different categories for the same thing? And again, why are we even making categories? Right? Again, so it says, identifies as male or female, or in between. Well, what's in between a male and a female? What? A male and a female. What's in between? What's outside of that? I don't understand. See, again, this is the confusion. This is what's confusing people. You're planting the seeds of doubt in people's heads as to whether or not human beings can be, or are in any way a male or female, or they're not, or there's an in-between and there's an outside. What? Intersex. Medical conditions involved. A person who has chromosomes, genitalia, or secondary sexual characteristics that contradict traditional male-female definitions. So this I can kind of understand. Sometimes people are born with birth defects for whatever reason, whatever happens, and they could have, a couple combinations of different sexual reproductive organs. Something to do with the chromosomes. Okay, that I get, I understand. If it's something that happens medically during the birth process or after birth, I understand that there could be complications with sexual reproductive organs, dualities with the two. I understand that. Is this category necessary? I don't know, but I understand, at least if there's medical conditions involved, I can understand that. Okay, that's some actual scientific proof right there. But again, is this necessary? I don't know. Are you guys as confused as me? Because I sure am. And I gotta tell you, when I was looking through these definitions yesterday, for homework for this show, I never knew what all these things were. I didn't really know what cisgender was, non-conforming. And I gotta tell you, it confused the living hell out of me. Mission accomplished, maker of these categories. Let's continue. Gender non-conforming. A person who doesn't conform to gender-based expectations or roles. What do we need a category for if we just believe that, a man shouldn't have to go to work every day, or a woman should have to be, cooking or doing laundry? That to me just is a determination of what you guys want your relationship to be. Maybe the man will come home and do a bunch of laundry and cook and clean. Maybe the woman goes to work too and does and fixes the car afterward or does an oil change. What do you need a category for if roles, if you don't care about gender roles at all and you're just going to do whatever you want to do because you feel like doing it? This to me is an absolute pointless category whatsoever. This is not a gender category. This is just a definition of what you want your relationship to be. Mind. Transgender. A person whose gender identity differs from their birth sex. Could lead to a sex change. Behaviors differ from gender stereotypes. Okay, so this makes sense. I get it. Okay, transgender people. You're a man, you become a woman, you become a man, because how you feel internally. This I understand completely. This isn't a big deal to me, in my opinion. Okay, I get this. But now the thing is with transgender people. Okay, so here's the thing: you have male, female. Okay, gay, lesbian, gay, and bisexual, and then you have people who feel differently internally for whatever the reason. I'm not qualified medically to make that determination, but for whatever reason, they feel like a woman if they're a man, they feel like a man if they're a woman. I get that. I don't think most people really care about that. This category I get, but at the same time, do we need all these categories of gender? Why is there so many categories surrounding gender? To me, these are all basically pointless because, like I said at the beginning of the pyramid structure, we're all Homo sapiens sapiens. We're all human beings right here, and yes, we are all male and female. Yep, I am a male. I can determine that myself. I don't need a degree in biology to understand what a male and female is, okay? Just like I don't need a degree in weatherology to determine whether it's raining or not, or whether it's snowing or not, or determine the difference of the two, okay? I know what a difference between a male and a female is. And all these categories, all they really seriously do is plant seeds of doubt in people's heads to confuse people and some other ulterior agenda. This, to me, I actually am pretty passionate about, because I can clearly see there is an agenda involved here. Not only just to confuse people, to question people, but to kind of like indoctrinate people as to doubt, you know, your own physical existence as a species itself. Now we're all of a sudden we're supposed to think that, oh, there's not just male, there's not just female. Everything we've done through, if you believe in evolution, through our evolution as a species, is all wrong, and now we're not male and female anymore. This to me makes no sense. All these categories are basically pointless. They're either just ways people express themselves, or you don't feel that, you know, you should, gender roles, you don't feel the guy should be the one to work and the woman should be the homemaker. Bisexual is the exact same as genderqueer. Like, oh my God, what is going on here, guys? This is just confusing. It does the part. So obviously, yes, I believe this is an agenda to a degree. It's confusing people. These categories are pointless. So to sum up here, what's my final take on this? What I don't like with this type of agenda and categorizing people, because it confuses people, it confuses children. And they're forcing this, not forcing it, but they're indoctrinating children from a young age to question their sexuality and to question what gender they are. I don't like that. Don't screw with the children. Don't do it. They are very vulnerable. They can think for themselves, and don't indoctrinate the children. I have a problem with that. And secondly, if you are a male, you compete in sports competitions with other males. If you are a biological male, you compete with other males, unlike this person right here. If you are a biological woman, you compete with biological women in sports. Your muscular structure, your bone physiology, your bone density, your hormone levels, they're all different. They don't change. Your bone density does not change if you're a man becoming a woman, and vice versa. And if you're like this person here and you're a biological male competing with biological women, you're a cheater, and there's no excuses for that. This person here did not win that competition. You're a cheater, and you know it. Now that's something, a whole other topic for another day, but that's where I'm going to end this discussion right here. But that's enough of what I think. What do you guys think? Obviously, this is a hot topic. And obviously, I did not mean to insult anybody. If you do identify as one of these categories, feel free. That's not up to me. I'm not passing judgment. It doesn't affect my life whatsoever. But these categories are a little silly, confusing, and unnecessary. Anyways, okay? So, again, I'll be back another day to talk about another controversial topic. Again, if you like this video, if you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see what I'm pointing to. Watch this one right here. And then once you're done that one, click on this one right here as well. Great videos. And we will be back another day to talk about another controversial topic. Thanks, guys. Ryan saying goodbye.